Boom. How are we? Okay, back with a bang. Smithy in his shed. Lovely. Hey, it's only been a couple of days since I've been here. Right, tonight's little bit of festival is all about 10 tips on selling clothes on eBay. Okay, what have I learned over the past 3 years of doing this? What little nuggets of information can I share with you? My name's James Smith and I run channel JR74. Please like, comment, subscribe to your heart's content. The channel's at the moment a lot to do with selling stuff on eBay. You know, all types of stuff, but mainly men's clothing and trainers for all comers. But yeah, 10 tips now that I'm going to tell you about that I feel you do need to take into consideration when selling clothing if you want to, you know, grow, take it seriously and boost your sales. Tip number 1, and these aren't in any particular order, okay? But tip number 1 I would say to you is always have a returns policy. Many people see eBay as a bit of a car boot, as a bit of a, well, you sees it, you gets it, you know, no returns on that. Okay, you know, I've taken some photos of it, you've bought it, that's it. A bit like in a car boot, because if you take stuff away from a car boot, you can't take it back. But the thing is that in a car boot, you can feel it, you can look at it. On eBay, you can't. All you can do is see photos of it. So you do have to have a returns policy, even though you can, you know, you're selling stuff for maybe just a couple of quid. All right. If the person isn't liking it, or if the person is feeling that it doesn't fit, okay, then you've got to have a return policy. In effect, you are a store, you are a shop, and a returns policy has got to be there. It's what people are used to. If you don't have a returns policy, it could be, or if you don't allow returns, okay, that's what I mean by a returns policy. You've got to allow returns, and there is a section on returns on your eBay listing. So always check that to allow returns. It gives more confidence to the buyers, and that's what the buyers need. All of these tips are really about developing confidence in the buyer and proving that what you have to sell is worth having. You are trying to convince somebody to buy your product, and if you don't have a returns policy, the convincing isn't very strong. Number 2 is all about the global shipping program. Always have the global shipping program enabled, the GSP turned on. You will see that in your listing there is a checkbox for the global shipping program. You can turn it off. I never turn it off. I've always got it turned on. eBay is a worldwide concept, and I have sold things to many different countries that can sometimes be quite surprising. I think the most surprising one that I had was a pair of Adidas white Climacool shorts, and I sold them to California, all the way from Cwmbran in South Wales. You know, it cost about £25 to post them for whoever brought them, but somebody did. They must have really, really wanted those particular type of shorts. I've sold trainers, I've sold joggers, I've sold everything all over Europe, all over the world. There was an instructional flamenco DVD that went to Costa Rica. You know, it's honestly, you will be so surprised. People are looking at eBay all over the world and are prepared to pay for the shipping, especially if they cannot get that product in their country, or if you have a product that's quite rare. Okay, yes, they are more likely to sell, but you'll be surprised. What you sometimes think is just the typical bread and butter product that is just going to stay within the country that you are, it can sometimes attract attention from other shores, put it that way. And it all falls nicely when that person buys it. The eBay international process is really, really simple. If you're in the UK, you will just pay the postage to the eBay distribution centre, okay, which is in the Midlands somewhere. And then they deal with it from there, either shove it on a plane or put it on a boat to take it to wherever it needs to go. And if it breaks in transit, then you are still covered. All right, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Everything should get there in a decent form and a decent state. And I've known, I was speaking to a local antiques dealer once, and I had some crockery to, and he wasn't really that interested, but he did say it was Japanese, I think. And he did say, put it on to eBay. And he then told me a story about he put things on eBay, and sometimes they arrive to the buyers in like thousands of pieces. They've been broken. And he said that eBay are really, really good at reimbursing you if that happens, and if you can prove that happened, and usually photographs would actually prove this. So yeah, all right, always have the GSP turned on. Number 3, the clothing's got to be of a decent quality. There's not much point in selling clothing that's got rips and tears in it, unless it is something that somebody would accept to have rips and tears in, like a ripped pair of jeans. The way that I usually tell if a product is in decent condition is by looking at the label. If it's a printed label and the print is still on it in really good font, okay, and there's no sort of like wear off or anything like that, then you can normally find that the rest of the garment is in pretty good condition as well, because that label being in good condition basically means that the garment hasn't really been washed that often, so therefore hasn't really been worn that often, and is usually in pretty good condition. If it's a cutout label that's stitched on, it's the same sort of thing. If it's frayed around the edges, then yeah, chances are it's been worn a lot of times, okay? But if it's still got nice clean edges on the stitched on label, you normally find that the rest of the garment is in good condition as well. All right, always give it a check for rips, tears, stains, dropped stitches. That's really important. And what I usually do is I'll keep the receipts for everything that I get, especially if it's from like a local charity shop. And if it's not quite up to standard, say like if I'm passing it on the way to work or something like that, I'll pop in and just take it back. It's quite rare that happens because I'm obviously checking when I actually buy it. It's important that you do that. Don't just think to yourself, whoa, you know, that looks good. I will say though, I was caught out the other day. I didn't check it. It was a dark pair of Rafa cycling shorts. And I did get a little bit carried away by looking at the label, thinking, oh, great, because Rafa is a really, really good cycling brand, R-A-P-H-A. But what I didn't see was that there was a little tear, okay? It's about the size of a 5p piece in just above the pocket. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And yeah, there was a bit of disappointment there. Maybe I'll stitch it, but if I do stitch it, okay, I will photograph the stitch. I will tell people about the stitch, and I'll even take a photograph with a 5p piece next to it so that you can gauge the size of the repair that's been done. Really, it's not going to affect the shorts, okay? It's not going to affect the performance and the function of the shorts. So maybe somebody will have it, but I wouldn't be able to sell it at full whack. I might be able to get my money back on it. All right, so quality products, okay? They, you know, it's quite obvious for me to say that they sell better, but they do. Just make sure that the quality of the product that you have is of a decent quality, and a really good indicator of that is the state that the label's in. Tip number 4, always give measurements and any particular details. Give as much detail as you can about the product. If you do this, because you will know that when you list on eBay, there's loads of categories that you've got to put details into. The more you do, the easier your product is to find. Okay? And as well, you've got to know and understand that manufacturers are now manufacturing in places all over the world. And say like this being an Under Armour t-shirt that I'm wearing at the moment, I do realise that a medium that's made in one country is not the same size as a medium that's made in another country. Also, the type of t-shirt might be different as well. So for tops, for t-shirts like this, I'll always give the pit to pit measurement and the top to bottom measurement. And I will put some vocabulary into my listing, okay, that basically encourages people to get out a t-shirt that fits them well, and they can compare it against the measurements. Okay, so if you're doing a pit-to-pit measurement of, say, like 20 inches or something like that, okay, and I'll always give it in inches and centimeters. It just, again, you are putting the confidence into the buyer. Okay, so the buyer can put down something that fits them, measure it, and see if it is going to fit. Because remember, you've got to send it through the post. I very, very rarely get returns back. Okay, very rarely, because I always do that on any clothing that I sell. Okay, so for t-shirts, pit to pit, top to bottom. For trousers, it's the across the top, the inside leg, and also the foot opening as well. If I don't put the foot opening on, I sometimes get questioned about, you know, what is the width of the foot opening, because the width of the foot opening is important, because that sort of like determines what type of jean it is. If it's like 7 inches, you normally find they're slim fit. If it's like a bit wider than that, then it's sort of like a straight leg fit, and it's wider than that, then it's a bootleg fit. So yeah, it is important that the measurements go on if you can. All right, the only one that I don't put measurements on for is shoes. Most people are aware of what size they are in what brand, and I very rarely get returns on shoes. Very rarely. I do sometimes, especially those ones that have got something different about them. In terms, there was a Nike pair that I sold recently, and the area around the ankle, it wasn't quite a mid and it wasn't a low, it was between that. And the lady that bought them, it just didn't quite sit around her ankle properly. And there's nothing you can do about that. You just got to take the return back and then relist it. Okay, and that's exactly what I did. And I sold them again. And the person that bought them for the second time has left positive feedback. So that's good. All right, so measurements. You've got to put the measurements on. Next tip for selling. What number are we at? What number? Number 5. Keep a database. Research. Okay, know what sells well, know what brands sell quickly, know what types of clothing sell quickly, and this will help you in your sourcing so much. If you find something that sells quickly, you can then get yourself onto Vinted and see what's available. Okay, it could be a seasonal thing. All right, I talk about, so if you subscribe to this and look through my back catalogue, you will see that I talk about things that sell well at different times of the year. At the moment, we're coming into the summer, and linen trousers sell really well. That's through my research, okay, because I've typed everything into a spreadsheet. There's also a video on spreadsheets as well. Take a look at that. It helps me to understand the markets and what sells well and what you should source and what you should avoid. I mean, another tip that I can give you now is men's shirts. Avoid them. They just don't sell. They don't sell quickly at all unless they're an absolutely banging brand, okay, that everybody's after. All right, men do seem to have their shirts for a very long time and get many wears out of them, and are not interested in buying them off eBay. But trousers and jumpers, different story really. All right, they do sell well, and t-shirts. All right, but shirts, no. And the only reason why I know that is because I've logged my research. All right, know what gets good profits as well. Okay, as you know, my target profit is 50 to 100%. And if I'm not hitting that, then I've got to go back to the drawing board and find out why. It's usually the sourcing cost. All right, and if I can find a way then of, if it's a good seller, and if I can find a way of sourcing it more cheaply, even better. Okay, but all of that comes from research and keeping detailed accounts. And as well, what you'll find is that if you are earning above a certain threshold, which at the moment is £1,000 a year, you will also have to declare yourself to the taxman. All right, and so therefore you do need to keep detailed records. So always keep a database. There, played around a golf last night. Meal deal, as you do. Okay, still got a bit of Coke left. Lovely. Just nice when you're talking as much as this. Okay. Now, next tip, number 6, offers. Encourage them. Okay. Encourage offers. Especially if you're selling on eBay. If you want to sell at a set price, and then you've got, say, like 20 to 30 things of the same product that you want to sell at a set price, I would honestly say to you, probably Amazon is a better way of doing this. On eBay, people are looking for a bargain. People are looking to negotiate on price a little bit. And every single product that I put on there will have the offers tab turned on, and usually have in the title an encouragement to make me an offer. Okay, make an offer. I will put those exact words into the title on most of my products if I can fit it in. You've got 80 characters to play with, so I can get most of the detail into the title as well as make an offer at the end. All right, so yeah, that's an extra one actually, the title there. Because there was 11 and I needed to slip the title in somewhere, and I've just done it with the encourage offers. All right, but if you do that, people will be coming to you with offers. All right, and it's important. I find it's important that you do that. All right, because it's not a brand new thing that you are selling. This is reselling. This is what I'm interested in. But I suppose you could apply these tips to brand new clothes as well, especially if you're selling them on eBay. I think that it gives the customer more confidence again, okay, because they've got a bit of control over the price as well. It's not just the seller that's got total control on the price. And if the customer is happy with the price that you were selling at, the customer may then return to your store, which is what you want to happen if you want to grow. It's not all about the profits. It's all about growing your store, is all about reaching out to people and providing a good service. The analysis that I always use and the example that I always use is that of a travel agent. If you want to be a successful travel agent, you've got to get return business. Okay, you can't just put a load of effort into getting first-time customers each and every time. You've got to give good customer service to encourage those people to come back. Okay, you can offer discounts and just providing a good service, and maybe just a message, certainly a message back if they message you. All right. So, yeah, being open to offers opens the door to all of these opportunities. Okay. And you can't ignore that. And number 7 is to do with offers as well. That's important. And it shows how important it is because I'm including it twice. I decided to include it twice instead of putting the title in as well. I slipped the title one in somewhere else. So actually, that's a little bit extra, isn't it? It's 11 for the price of 10. Consider all offers. Have a thought on all offers. And you don't have to take all offers. I find that offers fall into 2 categories. Okay, the first category is basically somebody has seen your product, wants it. I have put on there make an offer, and so what they've done is they've come in a couple of quid cheaper. I'm still gonna take that. Okay, so if I've put something on at 15 and what they've done is they've seen my postage costs, which is about £3.50. So they've taken 3 quid off. They've come in an offer at 12. Okay, I've sourced it for like 3 or 4 quid. I'm going to let that go. Okay, I'm not going to go back to them saying, oh, 13. No, I've put in my title, make an offer. They've made me a good offer, a reasonable offer, 10, 20% off. I'll take that. Okay, because what you want to do, cash flow. Cash flow. Oh, there's another extra one for you. So it's not just 10 anymore, it's 12. You've got to keep your cash flow moving. You can't wait for top dollar each and every time. Okay, if somebody comes in with a good, realistic offer, take it. All right. But also you get the offers where somebody is obviously trying to start a little bit of a barter. So they'll come in, they'll lowball you. Say if you've got something on at 15 quid, they'll come in at like 6. Okay, so is it that you can find that middle ground? Okay, don't feel that you've got to accept every single offer. I had a pair of there were these leopard skin Nike boots. Okay, they're really good actually. Some Blazer 77s, and somebody came in, I got them on at 25, somebody came in with an offer at 8. And I was like, oh God, I only sourced them for about 6, so there's hardly anything in that. So I didn't accept the 8, but I went to 15. I was prepared to do that. And they went quiet. And then a week later, somebody bought them at 25. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. It really, really is. But always, always consider the offers, especially if your product has been on the store for quite some time. Okay, you sometimes get people that have been watching it, okay, see that it's not selling, and they'll come in with a low offer. Sometimes you've got to take that. Sometimes you put something on and it doesn't quite work. Just get the money back, even if you make a small loss on it. Say if it's been on for like 6 to 9 months, hardly anybody's looked at it, somebody's coming with an offer, you'll be crazy not to take that. Get the money back, reinvest it in something else. I reckon, top of my head, 98% of my stuff sells at profit. Okay, there are some that sell at loss, but hey, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to try new things. Oh, there's another one, 13 now. Okay, it should be. I should change the title to 13 things, but always try new stuff as well. I'm talking about price quite a lot, and really, it's probably one of the most important things when selling stuff on eBay, especially clothing. Don't be taken in by the price that some people put clothing on eBay at. Okay, maybe there's something, especially something that's quite rare, maybe like a football shirt or something like that. Somebody's put it on at like, or a certain type of football shirt, maybe a commemorative shirt or something along those lines. Somebody's put it in at like 60 quid. Doesn't necessarily mean that 60 quid is its value. All right, and you will match that or come in at 55, maybe undercut it a little bit. And if that happens and nobody's biting, it's hardly getting any watches, nobody's really looking at it. I mean, it could possibly sell, all right, at that price, but it will take some time. If you do your research, okay, look at the amount of watches, look at the amount of views that it has had, and if it's hardly any compared to other products that you have, then the only way really to get the views up and to, you know, increase its potential of sale is to drop the price. Okay, so don't feel that just because something is on eBay at a certain price, then that is its value. Many times I've researched, I've seen a price that other people are putting similar products on for, but I usually find that I'm selling it at about 50 to 60% of that price that people have put it on for. I would much rather shift it quickly, get the money back, reinvest the money, and then sell something else, maybe 2 or 3 times in the amount of times that, or the amount of time that it would take to sell just that one product at that top dollar price. Okay, so an example would be a football shirt that takes 6 months to sell at 60 quid. Okay, and you've sourced it for a tenner, so there's 50 quid potential profit there. All right, but if you go 45 and sell it at 45 in 2 months, okay, so 3 2s are 6, so that's the same time period, then you are making £35 each time. All right, that is much higher from those 3 sales than waiting for the 50 quid for that one sale. Okay, I hope you understand that concept that I've just given you. All right, but I really do feel that cash flow, okay, getting stuff out, getting stuff back, reinvesting your money. All right, I have not had to put 1 penny of my own money into this business that I run. Yes, it is a side hustle, okay? It is just a little bit extra that I put into an ISA and put towards holidays, okay? That's where I'm at the moment. I want to grow the business, obviously, but I haven't invested, or I haven't had to invest any of my own money, all right? I started by putting stuff that I own up, okay? And getting money from that, and then using that money to buy new things. And I've reinvested. All right. So, you know, I feel that that is a better way of doing it. If I was to inject a load of money, then yeah, maybe I could grow the business more, but I haven't got that sort of money. and I haven't got that sort of capital. So, you know, and also I haven't really got the time at the moment. This is a side hustle. As I said, I'd love to go full time doing this, but at the moment there's a mortgage to pay, there's kids to feed. I just can't. But hopefully in the future, if I grow the business a little bit more, I will be in a position where I can do that. So, you know, what was that tip? What was it? That's it. Pricing. Okay, I went off on one then. I think I might have even given you some more. All right, but some eBay prices are not realistic. Nice. Just had another sip. Right, number 9. Now, these last two are based upon something which is just as important as price and a description. Okay, photographs. All right, make sure that your photographs are good, and to really show people that you have confidence in the product that you are selling, use the photograph editor to really zoom in on the product. Okay, eBay has a very, very good photo editing facility, where what I do is I'll just take pictures. Say it's just a t-shirt, I'll take pictures of the t-shirt, okay, and I'll upload them. All right, and then what I will do is I'll go through the listing and I will just tidy the photographs up. All right, you can crop them and zoom in a bit more. So with a photograph, I'm not bothered about the background. I just want to zoom in totally on that t-shirt. I want the t-shirt to take up the whole of the picture. Okay, and I also take different parts of the t-shirt, the label, any logos that are on it, the front, the back, so like I would also have a picture of this stitch here, okay, to show that it's in good condition. You know, blow your photographs up. Don't be scared to really show the product, because what that does is it yet again, and this is a bit subconscious here, this is the psychology of selling. All right, you, the buyer, is thinking, oh, great, yeah, that's all right. Without knowing it, they're thinking, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. All right, because you've zoomed in on it. All right, they're not bothered about the background. They're just bothered about the garment, the product that they are buying. Okay, so I would say be bold. Okay, be confident. Zoom in totally on the product that you are trying to sell. And my last tip, number 10, is to use the white background. Okay, for, say, if you do, again, I'm using t-shirts, but hey, t-shirt, many people are selling t-shirts in terms of clothing. The first 2 pictures that I would have is the front of the t-shirt and the back of the t-shirt, and totally zoomed in, as I said in tip 9, but also, okay, there is going to be a little bit of a background around it. Okay, have that as white. All right, just so that it is just the t-shirt that can be seen. eBay has a great background remover that you can apply to any photograph. Just click on it on the photo editing software that comes with the eBay listing, and it takes out the background. And what that does is it really does make your product pop out. You can do a black background as well, but I prefer white, even with products that are white themselves. You usually find that works absolutely fine. So yeah, all right, use white backgrounds when showing your product off. Yeah, that's a good one. That is, I find that eBay, they do try and help you in terms of the software that they have available to edit your photographs, and that's a very good one to use. So there you have it. All right, there you have it. There's my 10. There's more. All right, so I'll be able to do another video on this about other tips for selling clothing on eBay. But as I say, I've been doing it for about 3 years now, and yeah, I've developed quite a few, you know, boxes full of stuff, and I'm selling probably about 80 garments a month, between £4 or £5 markup each time. Okay, so yeah, as I said, adds to the holiday fund, adds to the ISA. All right, which is where I'm at the moment. But yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. you know, every week I also bring out a video where I'm talking about what's coming into the store, what I've sold, the sort of profits that I'm making, what's working, what's not working. I try and keep it as informative and educational as possible. Yeah. So In, On and Gone, I think it's number 50 is coming out this weekend. I'll have to look at that, but I'm pretty sure it's number 50. Right, I've got to go now. Tomorrow, big day. All right, my youngest leaves sixth form. No more kids at school. No more parents' evenings. Result, they're all out working now. Result.